Now there's something really useful here that I'd like to show you. This is fairly new in Rails, but you can now put a debugger right in the Rails code. If you run into trouble, which happens pretty often, you can do this. Just put in the line debugger. I'm going to save this and then I'm going to refresh the page. And it just kind of hangs, and that's because there's now a debugger inside of this terminal tab that's running the server. So you can see this is called bybug, and it shows us where it stopped. So it stopped here, and this is the next line of execution. So what's really cool here is we can actually inspect this thing. We can do @user.name, @user.email, and so on. So this is kind of a console, effectively, right inside of our application. So this is, like I said, relatively new, but this is unbelievably powerful. Like this happens all the time where something will not be working, and you'll want to sort of drill down into your application and figure out what's going on. So I would say if that happens, but more realistically, when that happens, this is a great technique, just to stick a debugger line in and then inspect what's going on, look at what the values are. So for example, if we did something like this, well, suppose we actually just commented out the whole line. By the way, to release this, we can do Control D. That continues the execution, so let's refresh it again to get that debugger again. So now I might be getting an error. Well, more realistically, let's just look at this here. So let's get rid of this line. So suppose I had this, oops, I need to do Control D again. Control D. Right, so suppose we had this problem with what is going on? I don't understand what's going on. Well, it tells me that it's this line here, and that's being called from the controller. It's being rendered from the show action. So let's fire up a debugger in here and refresh it. Get our terminal here. And let's say @user. See, oh, it's nil. I see the problem. And in fact, in some contexts, which is kind of cool, you might have noticed that when we got this error, there's actually a console here. Looks like it's kind of stuck, though. Actually, I'm kind of curious myself to see what happens here. Release this. Yeah. So this is actually another situation. Sometimes you'll get this kind of error, and you'll have a little debugging console right here. But if that isn't the case, if it's some other problem, so for example, if we had this, remember we did this here, just as a demonstration. Suppose we had this, but then we were checking on /user/5, and we're like, why isn't it showing the information for user 5? Then in that case, we could put in a debugger. So this works even if we don't have that little console in the browser. So I was like, I don't understand. Why isn't it working? Oh, I see it. @user's ID is 1. Ah, it's because I was stupid and put first here instead of actually using find. So